to some conventions, and they have videoed my panels that I thought I was just having a dialogue with the people at the panel. And then certain people have taken that video, and they like to edit that video, and they like to make it seem as if I'm saying things that I have not actually said. And that was I know. See what they're going to do right now? They're going to take that, and they're going to say, even his own panel was booing. This is how we're getting people learn. So, by the way, that's a good reminder. Please, for the love of God. And by the way, now more than ever, because now we've got computer graphics that are going to start making things look very real that are not real. Do yourselves a favor and don't just trust anything and everything that you see or hear online. Carte blanche. Yes? Yes. Because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to start twisting our hearts and our minds around. They're going to start using all of that to do it. So let's all have a little bit more patience with that, and let's really start getting to the source of where a lot of this misinformation is coming from, because a lot of people are not in our best interest. Anyway, doom and gloom. Yeah, yes.
Hi, Zachary.
Hi.
It's Emily. I love Tangled and I love Shazam, but I'm here for musical theater.
Yes.
I saw you and She Loves Me.
Oh,
and
I saw
met you at the stage door afterwards. You brought a boombox out.
That's right.
Dance party.
That's what I do.
And you spoke about the importance of community theater. And
Yeah.
as someone who's a big advocate for community theater and the accessibility of community theater to far-flung parts of the globe, can you talk about what it meant to you and how other people can get involved?
Absolutely. How many aspiring actors are there in the room right now? And how many of those hands that just went up are actually doing community theater? Okay, that's good. That's good. So here's the boom. I fully believe that if you want to do anything, if you want to be anything, well, actually, first and foremost, people ask me this a lot. What's my best piece of advice that I can give to aspiring actors? And I will tell them the same thing, which is, if you want to be an actor or a writer or director or producer or someone who works in costume design or props or set design, or you want to be a plumber or a farmer or a pilot or a doctor or anything else, the best advice I can give you is go love yourself. The best advice I can give you is go work on yourself. Because the healthiest, happiest version of you is going to make the most kick-ass version of whatever it is that you want to be, okay? So that's number one. Number two, if specifically you want to be an actor, community theater. Because in community theater, you know what that means? That means you love it. You're not making any money. You're not getting like fame and accolades. I would do community theater in this little town called Ojai, California. Because I grew up in Ventura, California, which is a much larger city, and they had no community theater, which is a shame. But I would go to Ojai, and it was like a 120-seat auditorium that people, or theater that people would come and see shows in. And sometimes I would do shows where we had more people in the cast than were in the audience. And that's very humbling. But that's necessary. Because if you're doing it for any other reason, if you're not doing it first and foremost because you love it, because it's something that's in you and you just got like, I gotta go express this. You know, a lot of artists, illustrators and animators and whatnot, they understand this because they're not performing for an audience, particularly not, you're drawing and drawing and drawing. You're drawing because you love it, you're doing it because you can. As an actor, it's not that easy. Like, you can go act to yourself in the mirror, which I've done plenty of, and still sometimes do. But that's not really the same as being on a stage in a scene with a scene partner, right? You really kind of need to have a situation in order to go do that. But that might be similar in a very small, grounded way. You're doing that, and it's important to do that because you want to learn what it means to build a character, to be present in a scene with your scene partner, to work with lots of other interesting, different people. In like professional theater, everyone in professional theater is there as a professional doing whatever they're doing. Those are people that do that for a living. In community theater, you're working with optometrists. No joke. I did The Fantastics, which is a musical, and one of the fathers, so like these two fathers of The Fantastics, and one of them, I think Bill was his name, lovely guy, optometrist. That's what he did for a living, and then he just really liked to do community theater off the side. And what's fun and interesting about that is that you get to learn so much more about humans, because acting is really deep, deep exercises in empathy. What are you trying to do? If not learn about whatever this character is that you are taking on, and then giving it as much authentic life as you can. And that's empathy. That's like, okay, well, what was their day-to-day? Walking a mile in their shoes. And so the more you can just learn about other people and the more you can sponge all that up, I think, the better it becomes. So I think community theater is a wonderful thing. And again, almost more than anything, you gotta start. You gotta start down here. You gotta really love it. You gotta really earn it and own it. And then you continue to stay in that and your talent continues to develop, then other doors open. And I was grateful that happened for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, President.
Hey. So if Shazam was up against Poison Ivy, especially considering that he is a teenager and she's a femme fatale, how do you think that battle would go?
I think I wouldn't be seduced by her. I don't know. Listen, I'm not betting against the house. You know what I mean? So Shazam's gonna win at the end of the day. I don't know exactly how. What's fun though is that even as a kid when I was collecting all the superhero cards and looking at all their stats in the back of the cards and all that stuff, I don't always go through these scenarios like who would win this battle, who would do this and who would do that. So, but I don't know. I think it would be a great fight, but I would ultimately win. Or Shazam would win, but I am Shazam, at least for right now. So thank you. Hi. What's your name?
Arabella.
Arabella. Hello, Arabella. Oh, what's your question?
What was your favorite scene in Shazam 2?
My favorite scene in Shazam 2 was when I got to do that scene where I was sitting at the restaurant with the sandwiches and the fries, and I was talking to Helen Mirren. She's so great, by the way. Helen Mirren is like everything you expect and want her to be. She's like the coolest. She's so beautiful in person, but like beautiful outside, but inside, like genuinely beautiful. She is a dame, like technically a dame, but also like has that like presence and grace. She sit down and she was playing this goddess, and she was so supportive and such a great scene partner, and it was really funny because like the juxtaposition between Billy being this teenage kid who's trying to pretend like he's an adult but he's not really, and then this goddess who's clearly ageless, who was planning on destroying him and his family. It was just a really fun scene. And then the flying stuff is really fun, but it's really uncomfortable because you have to wear these harnesses, and as a guy particularly, they are not ergonomically the best, but still really fun. Great question. Thank you. Oh, hello, Blondie.
Oh my gosh, I'm not trying to cry. Okay, hi.
You can try.
Okay, wow, I love you. Okay.
I love you too.
Okay, obviously, love Tangled. Also, a lot of other things you've done.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering, which of the characters you've played, which one you think you brought the most of yourself into, that maybe you've connected with the most?
Oh, without a doubt, Chuck Martowski. Spoiler alert, don't tell anybody, I wasn't acting. That was me. I'm not even kidding. Josh Gomez, who played my best friend Morgan on the show, he and I, in the pilot episode, right out of the gate, we were like, oh, we are best friends, because Gears of War, the first Gears of War had just come out, right as we were shooting that pilot. I brought my Xbox to set in the Vine and hooked it up to the TVs in the Vine and we just played Gears of War for hours. And then they'd be like, we're ready to shoot? I'm gonna pause it. Do the scene, check him out, and then we get like unpause, chainsaw. It was so much fun. And also, I just, and this is something I think that kind of I've been really blessed with in a lot of the characters I've gotten to play. Shazam, Billy Batson, Chuck Bartowski, Flynn Rider. There's so much heart. Chuck was heart, just so much heart. And I am that. It's why I get overwhelmed with all the love in this room, and I'll like start to get overwhelmed and start crying because I'm just so much heart, and I love people. And so it was really awesome to be able to like go to work and just basically be me all the time, minus the espionage, of course, or maybe I really could have can't really talk about it. But yeah, for sure. Actually, by the way, some of you all have been through my mind, and I've been able to tell some of you, but I might as well make it official here for the entire panel. So for all you Chucksters out there, so. And also, if you're not a Chuckster, go check out the show. It's a lot of fun. But from even before we stopped shooting the show, I was telling Warner Brothers and my producers, like, guys, we should make a Chuck movie. And they're like, yeah. Slow down. I'm kidding, man. And I was like, guys, we could even do the show online. And they're like, online? Like, nobody's doing that. I mean, like, literally, I swear to God, guys, I'm a prophet. Anyway. So I've been trying to make a Chuck movie happen for years. By the way, even more so after the end of the show, because the end is very polarizing, as some of you know. I'm not going to tell anybody who hasn't seen the show yet. You're in for that. But y'all deserve it. You all, the audience, deserve to have, at the very least, one movie that answers a very big question at the end of the show. So I've been working toward that, really, for years and years and years. And I think this is how we're going to do it. Because now everyone and their mom does a rewatch podcast of their series, right? So we're going to do a Chuck rewatch podcast. And Josh Gomez and I are going to co-host it. We're going to have our regular cast and guest stars that are going to come on. And we're all just going to have a good time and reminisce about the show. A show that we finished shooting 12 years ago. And I've slept since then, so I don't even remember a lot of what we did. It's going to be interesting. But the idea, the hope, what I'm trying to do with this is this. Because I think Warner Brothers, honestly, is missing a great opportunity. Chuck, of all of these shows that, like, could go make a movie or go make more of it, it actually has really interesting international appeal because it's about international espionage. It's not just like an American comedy. It's something that translates to Germany and Brazil and Italy and all these other places. And so since Chuck has been on streaming now, even before we were off the air, we started streaming in like 2010 on Netflix. We were one of the first shows streaming on Netflix. And it's been on Netflix, it's been on Amazon, it's been on HBO Max, and now Max and all that. And our fan base has only grown since then. So my goal is we're going to do a Chuck Rewatch podcast. We're going to get all you Chucksters to listen and watch it, right? We're going to all do that. And then we're going to be able to get all those analytics of all the fans reactivated. And I can look at the numbers and I can go to Warner Brothers and say, see, here's all these wonderful people around the world that would love a movie. Can we please do it now? And that's how we're going to do it. I love that you even did a little Rapunzel bow. She practices it. Hello, sir.
Hi. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
I absolutely love Chuck. I love Shazam, but I absolutely love Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Well done.
Fantastic.
Well, excellent taste in all three.
Fantastic. Filthy in the best ways possible. Do you have any good stories from behind the scenes of that show, or anything that happened that we might have not seen?
I'm honestly one of the worst when it comes to anecdotes. I don't retain even like incredibly funny moments. I don't know why. I'm more just kind of like moving forward. But I would say that working on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was one of the greatest experiences of my acting career. Amy Sherman Palladino and Dan Palladino, who are the bulk of the writing, directing, producing creators of that show, are I'm not saying this hyperbolically, really genius. And like grounded, cool individuals who really understand how to write something and produce something and direct something very intelligently, and clearly, go and hire department heads that know how to do all the costumes and the sets and all those things so excellently. So the fact that they asked me to go and be a part of that show, and that I got to play a role like Benjamin, how many Maisel fans in the audience? You know, it's really rewarding because I got to be the one that got away, kind of, you know? Like, the amount of people that come up to me to this day and they're like, man, she did you dirty, bro. She did you dirty. Like, I know, right? She totally did me dirty. Like, it's fun. It's fun. And that whole last scene that they gave me, of being a tall, angry building, you know, right in the restaurant was so satisfying. So that's what I can tell you from that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Who's next?
My name is Violet.
Violet, you're turning violet, Violet. You're not.
Found that so much.
I'm sure you are. Thanks, Mom.
My question is, what is it like working in big industries like acting, especially with bigger companies like Disney and Warner Brothers and stuff like that, and like your journey through that?
Ooh. And loaded. The question is, do I ever want them to hire me again? How do I answer this? So, well, you know what? That's a really good question. I'm going to answer it. I'm going to answer that and use it as an opportunity to talk about a few other things. You guys good with that? Okay, here we go. So, I think like most industries, they're full of a lot of really great people. And a lot of really great people that are meaning to do well. And are, you know, if you look at the org chart of a thing, you've got like the most powerful elite people at the top, right? And then you've got a lot of really excellent human beings that are all filling all those departments and doing their best, trying to keep the company, the industry going. But I think that we have a really, really massive problem in this country and in this world, which is we have lost our way in capitalism run amok. Now, let me say this. I'm not indicting capitalism whole cloth. I think of all the isms, it's perhaps the best of the isms, but all the isms only work in a perfect vacuum. Because what happens is human beings, though I do believe we're all products of our environment and we need to be gracious with each other and we need to love each other, we're all very corruptible, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And what's happened is, in the last specifically 100 years, is that people have taken this concept of capitalism and, well, it has growth, and margins. And what's happened is the most powerful and wealthy have only become more powerful and wealthy, and us, the working class, continue to get our salaries cut and our jobs disappear. And this is the problem in Hollywood, and it's the problem in all of our industries. And it is a really, really, really serious problem. And not to get too dour about this, but I think this is something we need to talk about. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, what we're recognizing, what we're seeing right now, is going to be amplified exponentially by AI. If you're sleeping on AI, if you don't understand or you haven't really looked into AI, where AI is right now, where AI is going to go next year versus the year after that, this is technological exponential growth, guys. It starts here with fire and the wheel and all these things, big jumps and these kind of horizontal jumps. And then right in like the 60s, 70s, we go into this curve, and that's the microchip. And ever since then, technology just exponentially goes straight up the deal, right? So AI, I'll just use my industry as an example. I don't believe the people at the top of the food chain in my industry. I think that even those people, they might mean well, but they're part of a super broken system, and that broken system they will do anything to make money. Anything, even if it means killing human beings and nature. We're seeing this across the board, that people do really horrible things in the name of making more money. It's like, oh, you guys get it, we got shareholders, and we gotta make better margins. I mean, then they rationalize it to themselves. It's like, I know we wish we could do different, but it's just the way that it all works, right? And we're all losing our jobs and getting laid off or getting our salaries cut. And we're like, well, wait, what? You all control this. You can absolutely decide to do this differently, but they don't, because but my bonuses and the CEO makes. how much more money than the people working in the industry, right? So all they do, they find every possible way to make more money and more money and more money. And AI is going to be able to start replicating all of human effort. And again, I'll just use my industry. Right now, Unreal Engine, which is the graphics engine that makes all of our computer graphics, all of our fun video games, and all the cool CG that you see in movies. Right now, it's basically already photorealistic. Which means you could prompt something in a computer and say, specifically if it's just a still photo, and you could say, I want a photo that looks like this, and you've got Mid-Journey, or you've got whatever it is, and it's like, but, and it looks like me standing on a stage, but I was never there, right? You can do that right now. So what happens a year from now, and this exponential growth? Well, guess what? Video is going to get real good to be photorealistic, where you could go in and say, hey, I want a movie that's like a bunch of kids on the moon searching for treasure that feels like a Steven Spielberg movie, enter. And in 5 years, by the way, I hope I'm wrong about these things, but I don't think I am. And in 5 years, that will be like that. It will be indiscernible from a human-made movie. And a lot of people go, well, yeah, but I don't want that. I want there's not going to be any soul in that. Well, listen, AI is going to be able to scrape the internet and just learn all of the best performances given by any of the actors or any of the movies that have ever been done, and it will emulate it. It will be able to do that. And people say, yeah, but I still won't want that because it won't be a human, it won't be a soul. I go, okay. How many people wanted to be suffering from obesity and type 2 diabetes right now? Nobody. But you know what they did? We all used to have good organic food that we would go to our groceries, and we would know our grocers and our butchers, and we would know where our food was. It was more locally sourced. And then everything started to get commoditized, and everything started to get industrialized, and then all of this food started becoming kind of not so good for us. And they started selling us on fast food. Hey, I know you want, hey, moms, I know you don't have the time. You want to go and, get the dinner for your kids. No, why don't you go to KFC and go get a bucket of chicken and go do that stuff? And then now, all of us who did not want to have health problems in our bodies, now a lot of us have health problems in our bodies. And the same thing is going to happen with content. Because a human-made movie is going to cost you $20 like it does right now. But an AI movie is only going to cost you $2, guys. And more than that, you get to scan your face and your voice, and you get to be Shazam. Or your kid gets to be Shazam for $2. And I don't know how many parents are not going to spend $2 to make their kid a superhero that's dying to be that superhero. So I say all of that not to bring everybody down. I know. But I can't. We have got to be talking about this because we have to collectively as human beings remember that there are other human beings in other industries, and these industries are going to start to crumble. And we have to support other humans in the jobs, whether that's supporting actors in movies, or whether that's going to restaurants that are still actively a human waiter and a cook, and not just a robot that's in the back doing all the things and cuts the price way down. Because guys, it's already happening. There's already restaurants that are doing that right now. And it all seems like, yeah, but that's never gonna replace everything. Guys, look at the way it all works. If they can find a way to cut prices to make more money, they do it. So my fear is, even a lot of good people and a lot of good industries and a lot of good companies like the Disneys and the Warner Brothers and all these people that I've gotten to work for, and I'm very grateful that I've gotten to work for them, if they don't see what's about to happen and if they don't change it, then we're in for a really wacky time. So that's all I got on that right now. Go love yourself.
Hi. Hello. So I love Maisel, and I love Kingdom Hearts.
Fantastic.
And I've seen a rumor that
It's not true. The rumor is that I couldn't wait to do Kingdom Hearts because I was a big fan of the game. And the truth is, I've never played the game. I knew that Kingdom Hearts was a game that involved Disney characters in the Sony kind of universe, and I thought that was dope. But I never played the first one, and I never played the second one. And then they came to me and they said, I also knew that the third one was like 10 years in the making. Like after the second one, everyone was like, when's the third one coming? They're like, oh, it's coming. It's almost like Half-Life 3. Is that ever gonna happen? God, great franchise too. But I had never played the game. I did it because I want to make sure that anytime anyone's ever voicing Flynn Rider, that's me.
nice.
Yeah. Although it was very odd because of the way of licensing, even though basically all the lines I said in Kingdom Hearts were essentially exactly the same lines that were Flynn Rider's lines in the movie, I had to re-record all of them. They could not use it from the original audio from the movie, so I basically just said all the same things and I got paid again for it. So it was hello. Baby shark, shark, shark. Oh, you're the shark from Jaws. Jawsy shark, shark, shark.
If Shazam and Blue Beetle got in a fight, who do you think would win?
If Shazam and who?
Blue Beetle.
Oh.
You know,
Well, again, I'm not going to bet against the house here. I mean, listen, I'm magic. He's alien tech. He can't hurt me.
So it's a Greek myth versus ancient Egypt myth, whatever. But the scarab was supposed to help the user stay alive, and
Yeah.
the lightning bolt has all 4 or 5, I don't know, a couple of Greek gods in it.
Yeah.
And the Beetle has multiple, a whole arsenal of weapons.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's pretty cool.
And,
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love how deep into the lore you are. That's fantastic.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
TJ.
Hi.
You kind of already answered this, but it's been on my mind, so I have to ask. Are you just as bitter about Midge not picking you as I am?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm totally good about it.
But I love Mrs. Maisel,
no,
I love Best
listen,
Miss
listen.
so much.
My character was never meant to be picked. My character was supposed to show the audience that even when she's presented with what might be the perfect guy, she's still going to kind of go self-destruct a little bit, / go choose herself and go and do this path. And, that's what it was about. I was a tool in that regard, But it was still an incredible time to get to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Thank you.
I love you in it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, my name's Marshall.
Hi, Marshall.
I just want to start by saying I got a nerd herd tattoo.
Yes.
And I also had to run a mile in gym wearing high top Chuck Taylors because
Okay.
I watched Chuck so much.
Of course.
Well,
By the way,
I
not
watched-
an easy thing to run a mile in
No,
Chuck
I
Taylor.
did. It was my best one though, 7:37.
Oh,
So
well done.
pretty
All right.
crazy.
Well, then never mind. I
But,
take that back. Run more in Chucks.
I just want to know how often you listen to Tom Sawyer by Rush while filming Chuck.
I mean, just when we shot that episode.
That's it?
Yeah,
Are you a Rush
I've
fan?
never really been a big Rush fan. Oh, yeah, bye. He runs out to get his tattoo removed. No, I mean, listen, I'm not knocking Rush. I mean, I think obviously they've got some bangers, but I'm more of a dance pop kind of a guy.
That's fair.
That's my vibe.
Did you guys have it blasting while you were playing?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. When we did that episode while I'm playing Missile Command, I mean, obviously that was a part of the episode.
Okay.
But I wasn't then we should put some more Tom Sawyer on for this episode. Wasn't what I was thinking.
That was it.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
As a fellow community theater actor,
Yes.
I have a dream role in a musical or play. What would be your dream role in something like that?
Honestly, I don't know. I've been asked this before. I've already played some pretty dreamy roles, and I honestly don't know. I've done a good amount of community theater and school theater, and now Broadway a couple of times, and I've seen a lot of shows. But I am a bit of a Luddite when it comes to these things. So much so that when I was doing She Loved Me, for example, and I'm working with these incredible Tony Award-winning and nominated actors, and they're all talking about very famous Broadway people. I'm like, who are you talking about? Because I don't know. I'm not steeped in it in the same way, But I think my dream role has yet to be written. I want to go do something original. I don't want to go and rehash something else that somebody's already done. I've done that. I've done both. I did an original in First Date, and I did a revival in She Loves Me. But I would love to do more original stuff. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, man.
What's your favorite song in Tangled, and could you sing a part of it?
Man, obviously the low-hanging fruit is At Last I See the Light. Because that's basically the only song I sing in Tango. Still a little bitter, a little old level. A little bitter that Flynn never got his own solo. Whatever. In the series I got a solo, which was nice. Anybody watch Tango the series? Yeah! It's really good. It's not just for kids, it's for adults too. It's for the kid and all of us. I think I Have a Dream is kind of my favorite song in the movie, just because it's so Mencken-y, it's so Alan Menken, it's so like Disney, big energy kind of, that kind of song. But the whole, or Mother Knows Best. Oh, such a banger. Yeah.
Also, when I was like 3 or 4, I used to throw on like a green jacket, and this was my sister's, and I ran around with this and a strainer. I ran around the whole house with them.
A strainer instead of a frying pan?
Yep. And I would make
The frying pan was too heavy, but the strainer.
I would make them pause the movie so I could switch between Flynn and Rapunzel.
Okay. Little Victor Victoria going on. That's wonderful. By the way, how was your sister with a broken neck?
And she can't wait there.
Okay.
And she just got surgery, so she has 1 plate and 8 screws.
Okay.
And a 1.5-year-old.
Well, we're all sending her love. Okay.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle. Can I ask you one favor? Can you say hi to my husband?
Sure. What's his name?
His name is Chris.
Chris? Are we making a video or are we FaceTiming?
It's a video.
Oh, we're making. Okay, Chris. Hi, it's Zach. Why aren't you here, Chris? Priorities, Chris.
Thank you. My other question, actually, is we are big Chuck fans. Like, we watch it every month, like, on repeat. My husband's actually the reason I got into it.
Good man.
My question is, actually, I'm a mental health therapist.
Wonderful.
Mental health is like a huge problem currently going on. What do you do for your self-care?
Great question. Well, I mean, I think you really have to capture your thoughts, guys. You have to capture your thoughts. I know, because I've learned now about my self-talk, and when it starts getting negative, oh, that's not me. By the way, one of my favorite quotes is from a book called The Untethered Soul. You are not the voice of your mind, you are the one who hears it. You are not the voice of your mind, you are the one who hears it. When you start hearing all of that, you idiot, you failure, you this, you that, you whatever, which I often do, I have to immediately remind myself and capture those thoughts and go, no. That is the deceiver. That is the liar. That is the darkness. That is not true. And you have to stop it there. Another one of my favorite quotes from Martin Luther, OG Martin Luther, you cannot stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop it from making a nest on top of it. You're not going to stop the thoughts. You're not going to stop those things. Don't try to do that. But when they start to try and roost upon your head, you go, no. Or whatever you say. But whatever. And then people are like, they're crazy. I'm like, I know. But so that's first and foremost. I start my morning with prayer. If I can get some meditation in, I will do that. I think moving your bodies, guys, here's some really cool statistics. They've done these amazing studies. As it turns out, the most effective way to deal with depression and anxiety is moving your body. It's moving your body, not even SSRIs or any of those antidepressants. It's moving your body. And the most effective of all the body movement you can do is dancing. Because how do you move your body dancing if you're sad? Like, you don't see a lot of people being you're in that headspace already. You're like, yes, I want to move. And here's part of the reason why we have the craziest levels of anxiety and depression in our lives. We are sedentary. We were not created to sit. I mean, I hate to say this, we're all doing this right now, and I appreciate you're here. But we were not created to sit down all the time at desks and in planes and in cars and all of this stuff. You were given these incredible bodies, these vessels to move, to run, to jump, to play in. We were all hunter-gatherers for thousands and thousands of years, using these incredible meat mech suits that we were running. Think about it, right? Like, I don't know how many people in this audience right now are spiritual people or believe in an afterlife. I certainly do. And that means that means your soul is an eternal piece of who you are. That is who you are. Which means this is not eternal, which means this is actually not who you are. Isn't that crazy? That means your soul is the pilot of this meat mech suit, this Pacific Rim thing that you get to go out into. For real. And also, by the way, not for nothing, but even this meat mech suit, which is not you, isn't even really it, because most of what it is bacteria. Did you know that? I'm not even kidding. There's more bacteria in your body than there are cells of the rest of your body. Like, guys, we've all had very different and, let's say, wrong ideas of what we actually are and who we are for a really long time. And if we want to break through and become our better selves, damn it, we got to start reimagining and redefining what all those things are and really, really loving ourselves. And so that's all been very helpful. Really recognizing these things about myself and recognizing that we are all expressions of and reflections of the divine. God loves every single one of you guys, whether you believe it or God or not. You are all And by the way, for all of you who have a more atheistic lifestyle, nothing but love to you too. You are still a miracle, mathematically. You don't have to believe in the spiritual version of the miracle. Just look at the idea, and by the way, I'm sure you probably have. The fact that life exists on this earth is only because the earth happens to be exactly where it is in our solar system compared to where the sun is, where our moon is, how the moon goes around us, creates all of our tides, does all of the things. That's a fucking miracle. So there you go. So all of those things. By the way, also a bit medication. Medication saved my life. So don't feel like you can't. Let me also say this. Really not a big fan of big pharma. I think that is another industry that has gone crazy. I think all of our industries have gone crazy. They have all started to value money over profit over people. They've sold us all downriver. I mean that, but that doesn't mean the pharmaceutical companies aren't full of a lot of good people, and over the years haven't created things that are beneficial for us. So I want to make that very clear too. And I have been helped by some antidepressants, but I do believe that there are even better, more holistic ways, and we're learning about that now. Body movement, get up, get moving, get up, get moving, go for a walk. Literally just go for a walk. Go for a walk around the block. Go for a walk around the city block. Go get a friend, go for a walk together. Community is a massive part of that. And actually, you know what? I'm going to use this opportunity to tangent to something really quick. Does anybody know about Nerd HQ, the event that I did at San Diego Comic Con? So listen, Nerd HQ was super fun. We had the best dance parties ever. Wow, dance parties. But also we raised lots of money for nonprofit. And 7 years ago, I had to kind of like shutter it, and I turned it into a full 501c3. And it's a 501c3 raising money for mental health. And so what's going to happen is it's going to go live. The website's going to go live, I think actually next week on Thursday. And there's going to be a whole bunch of really fun merch that anybody can go and get. And it's all basically representative of all of us as nerds. Part of the reason I created it was because I was going to conventions and I would see, there's Harry Potter nerds, and there's Star Wars nerds, and there's Star Trek nerds, and there's Lord of the Rings nerds. And we all have our different fandoms, but there was no like Nike for nerds. I wanted to create a brand that we could all just wear together, like nerd, yeah, figure it out. And so that's kind of what it's about. But also, we're going to have year-round auctions. And these year-round auctions are all for charity. And by the way, this was spawned out of doing Nerd HQ. Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk would come and do panels. And by the way, those panels were all for charity. And they would come and bring a bag, they would call it their baggage in. And they would literally just pull out random things, old scripts, old Comic-Con badges, whatever. And Nathan would say, I think this is worth at least $20. And then hands would start raising. I'll buy that for 20, I'll buy that for 40, 60, whatever. And so what my goal is to start to get all these celebrities that all obviously have things that they could just sign and send in, and it's just nothing but just trying to raise money for mental health. Because here's the thing, it used to be that the big threshold to getting people into therapy was destigmatizing it, right? A lot of people were like, I don't want to go to therapy, I don't want to feel like I'm broken, Listen guys, we did a great job of destigmatizing mental illness. We really have. We're at a great place now. So now, what is the threshold? What is the thing that's keeping people out of therapy? Is it money, right? Because nobody can afford the therapy. So my goal is to take as much of all of these random things that celebrities can sign and auction off and transmute that all into a big pile of cash that we can pay for everybody's therapy with. Because everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves it. If our government's not going to pay for it, with all our tax dollars, that money and transmute that into taking care of us, then we've got to do it. We've got to do it privately, we've got to do it together. Amen?
Yes.
How much money is that? Huh? What?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You have
12
12 minutes.
10 more minutes, 10 more minutes. All right. Ooh, hold on. What's your question?
Hi, my name is Mahalia. My sister and I love Tangled, and I wanted to ask you, with Tangled the series, was there any hesitation to come back to voice Eugene, or was it just immediate, yes, I want to do this again? And were you surprised with the direction they took his character?
No. The only hesitation that I had in the beginning was just making sure that we were doing something that was excellent. I mean, it's honestly my only hesitation with taking any job. I just don't want to make things to make things. And I think that's part of the problem with Hollywood, right? I mean, how much crap is out there? In order to find something that's actually good. I mean, watching Netflix now sometimes is literally just scrolling through options. Oh, you want to watch Netflix tonight, hon? Yeah, and then you're just scrolling. You do that for 30 minutes, and you're like, all right, well, I guess we're just going to go to bed now. And you don't know. And it's not that any one of those things may or may not be excellent based on just looking at the thing, but you don't know anymore because it's I don't know. I can't tell from this thing because the problem is that it's all just been it's like a numbers game. It's well, just flood them with content. And then there's enough there that people will just zone out, and I'm just not about it. I'm just not about it. I want to make things that are excellent and only excellent, and if they're not, then I'd rather not make it. Because I think it's just contributing to more of the decay of our ability to even know what is good. So when it came to Tangled series, I wanted to make sure that I sat down with Chris Sonnenberg, who is a wonderful human being and a very talented man. He was our showrunner, creator, and Mandy and I had very extensive meetings with him to be is this really worthy of reigniting these characters in this storyline? Because the movie was so sacred to us. And if it's not going to be as excellent, then better not to do it. And Chris gave a very compelling argument for all of it and the way he wanted to take the story. And it was really cool. I thought it had a lot of depth to it, it had a lot of intelligence to it, had so much humor to it. I love that even the animation style, because it was way too expensive to do the CG animation that we did for the movie. So they're well, how do we do this? And then Chris and the gang were well, what if it's Rapunzel's drawing style that then is almost like she's telling the story? It's that's genius. What a cool way to do that. So I was stoked about it. It was wonderful. Yeah. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I'm her sister. Right?
I was going to say, there's a resemblance and not just because you were Spider-Man.
You talked a lot about mental health,
Yes.
and you also mentioned Mandy Moore. I was wondering if you watched This Is Us.
I have watched the first episode.
What did you think?
Well, the first episode was wonderful and heartbreaking. I mean, I could tell from the first episode, I understood what all the buzz was about, and I'm so stoked for her and for Chris Sullivan and for Milo and for Chrissy Metz and Justin, and I know basically all those guys. I know them from outside of what that show is, and then they all got to go create something really special together, and it's meant a lot to a lot of people, And again, that's stepping into excellence, and not just doing yet another TV show that's on Thursdays you got it's another cop thing about when somebody died, we're gonna go figure it out. It's another one, great. I think honestly that's part of the reason why people gravitated toward Chuck, because it was just not normal. It was so different, and I want more of those things. I want more things that are challenging us and entertaining us in different ways, And I think This Is Us like that, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello. First of all, I want to thank you for bringing up your personal, your trials.
Yeah.
And is that in your book?
Oh yeah. Basically, the whole book is about how I had a breakdown and went to therapy, and it's about the therapy. These 3 weeks that I spent in Connecticut, really saving my own life, or being a part of saving my own life with the incredible therapists and everybody that I was able to have around me. And then in that, jumping to all of the various points throughout my life and with the traumas that led me to that point in my life in that therapy. And what I've learned as I was going through what I was going through and since then, and the amount of people that have read the book and I've talked to, guys, we're all dealing with the same stuff. Actually, this is another thing I like to do at panels. I should have done this in the beginning. If you deal with, let's say, stress, high stress in your life, raise your hand. Also, look around the room when this happens. Hands down. If you deal with anxiety in your life, please raise your hand. Hands down. If you deal with depression in your life, please raise your hand. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. The darkness wants to make us think that we are alone, particularly in the depression. It makes you want to think you are uniquely broken. Like no one's ever going to understand. No one can ever be by your side. No one can ever hold that space for you. And it is a lie from the pit of hell. We are all going through the same stuff. It might be packaged slightly differently. People come up to me, they read my book, and they go, I didn't have your childhood, but somehow I had your childhood. And it's because we all still will go through very similar but different traumas. And those similar but different traumas manifest in very similar but different symptoms. So, yes?
I just want to say thank you.
It's okay.
Oh,
for being so
they have to
handsome.
do the movie show. We all need it mentally, if nothing else.
Yes. Yeah.
We need it all for escape.
Yes. Thank you.
One more. We are down to 5 minutes. We've got 5 bodies, so let's do a lightning round.
Oh man, me? I'm proposing tangential. I can't do a lightning round.
We can hope.
Oh wait, Shazam. I suppose I can do a lightning round. Anyway. Yo.
I was wondering about the connection in Flynn and Rapunzel being in Frozen 1. There's like a single shot where Rapunzel and
Yep, at the
Flynn are
wedding.
both there.
Yep.
Is there any connection with that, or is that just an Easter egg?
I guess so.
Hi, I'm so nervous to talk to you. Okay, question for you and the audience, kind of, because I forgot to ask you mine.
Okay, yeah.
Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Yep.
I know how you feel about it.
Yep.
Was it a part of your childhood? And for the audience, was it a part of anyone's childhood here?
Show hands, Harold from the Purple Crayon. So interestingly, it is a very beloved IP and book, and lots of people did grow up that I did not. I mean, I'm sure I saw it at some point in a library or whatever, but it was not like a beloved book that I grew up with when I was a little kid.
Okay.
No, yeah, thanks. Next. Go.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
First, love the beer.
Thank
It looks
you.
amazing.
Thank you. Oh, Prospector's Edge.
My question is, you've done a couple of Broadway CDs, and those are fantastic. When do we get a CD of you just singing like singers and standards and stuff? Like, you went so hard on that little song that I can't listen to without crying.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it broke me.
What song?
The one that Eugene sings in the Tangled series.
Oh, yeah.
I listened to it before I saw the episode.
Oh, yeah.
And your voice broke me.
Oh.
The animation doesn't as much. I feel like you went harder than they needed you to.
Well, listen, I really appreciate that. I love singing. I actually started to perform as just me, and I did a couple of shows last year where I did some singers and standards and kind of big bandy stuff, and it was a lot of fun. I actually have been in the process of trying to put together my first album. It's just taking a lot longer than I hoped. And I don't know if it's going to be big band stuff. Actually, what I would really love to do. My favorite, I love boogie because I love to dance, and I love brass, which is a little big band, but horns. I love them, and they're sexy. And so I want to do a album of covers, but that are like 80s songs, but they're like more heavily synth songs. But I take all the synth out and I put in a bunch of boogie and brass. So that's what I'm going to try and record soon, and hopefully, And I don't know if it'll be a full album. I might just start releasing one song at a time because trying to get a whole album done, it takes a while.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Lightning.
Huge fan. My mom, Kelly, I didn't let you know that she loves you.
Tell her I love her back.
I will. Is there anything in the set of Chuck that's yours to give it more of your personal feel?
Was there anything on the set of Chuck that was mine?
Yeah.
No, but ironically, was reading all of Y the Last Man, the graphic novel, and then as I was literally reading it, I came to set for, I think it was the beginning of the 3rd season. I walked into Chuck's bedroom, we had a scene in there, and I looked over at my bookcase, and there were all of the Y the Last Man editions. I was like, this is tripping me out. And then at the end of the show, I did take a few keepsakes with me. There was the, in Chuck and Morgan's apartment, the tobacco Indian, the big wooden tobacco Indian. He lives in my barn. And I took the red, like actually old, like actual phone that was on the counter, like the emergency phone that we never used. It was there all the time. You're like, what's that phone for? I don't know. So I took that, because why not? But yeah, those are the only things, really. And then there were like clothes. Like I would go to the wardrobe department and be like, could you just get these clothes that I wear all the time? And they're like, yeah, we'll get those clothes. So Chuck was wearing a lot of clothes that I was wearing. Same underwear too.
Last question.
Oh man, no pressure. Don't screw it up.
Well, first was a lady that got cut. She wanted me to tell you that she loved that you brought your own playlist to Shazam.
Oh yeah. I bring a big speaker to set, and I just literally DJ music all day long. Because music makes life better, guys. It just does. I don't know.
My question was, Chuck had a lot of iconic guest stars, and I was wondering who was your favorite.
Who are my favorite guest stars?
Yeah,
that's like asking an alcoholic what their favorite booze is. Dude, I mean, it was literally my whole childhood. I mean, my dad was Scott Bakula. My mom was Linda Hamilton. The best bad guy we had on the show by far was Timothy Dalton. That was crazy. And then all the other, just the Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, I don't know. Like it was so wacky, the fact that we got to have all these various people on the show, people that were like childhood idols of mine, people that were clearly icons within their own right that would come and do the show. And every time they did, I just was like, how cool. How cool that they saw this show and they were like, you know what, I like it enough that I want to come and play in that sandbox. So yeah, I think all of them. But Scott and Linda were pretty up there. I think that's our time. Is that our time?
You are done.
That's our time.
Ladies.
Detroit, I love you guys!